Hello everyone and welcome to another playtest report of Tigers Lash out at Ladoga, scenario of mine I've been working on, and I do seem to think that we're getting somewhere, but remarkably and perhaps contrary to what I might have expected as well at the beginning of the design process, it does seem to be a very difficult scenario for the Russians. In this case, they didn't destroy, well, they did destroy German units, but they didn't manage to exit a single unit off the board, as you can see here. And the ones that they do have are mostly heavily damaged, and those in the back as well, although, of course, they've been damaged since the start of the game. I do have to admit, at a critical time, the Russians got the special ammunition tokens and they used them one round early, and then 2 units were exposed for the Tigers that were still fresh, and they were consequently eliminated themselves. They should have waited with that for another round. It's also important to keep the tanks together when you actually do move into the woods. Because once the Tigers actually make it into the woods and get still 2 extra cover, they become extremely difficult to destroy. Anyway, another change that I've made after this playtest is that the Russians also score 2 VPs if they manage to successfully destroy the German tank ace. And that includes the crew if it successfully bails out. So in this case, they didn't manage. The crew is still left. And if the tank is abandoned in this way, so the crew exits, bails out, then you should put an immobilized marker and a pin marker on the vehicle to denote that it cannot fire and that it cannot move. Obviously, without a crew, that becomes a little bit difficult. Also, the pin marker isn't removed during the status phase, so if you want to remind yourself of that, you could also put 2 pin markers, for instance, stacked together. With competent German play, it's definitely difficult to win this scenario, although the Russians made a couple of mistakes. But yeah, in this particular case, the Germans also positioned 2 Pack 40s in the front line, which probably isn't the best decision either, but I just wanted to see how that went. It wasn't a terrible decision because they inflicted some more casualties as well, but probably they're better off placing it over here. And note that there's a special rule, adjustable defense. In that particular case, if you put the Pack 40 here, you would have to put an entrenchment here, not a trench, because a unit cannot operate equipment from a trench, and it can from an entrenchment. So that's the summary basically, and the change I've made accordingly. And tomorrow I will try the game against an opponent, but I do expect it's nearing completion now. It's okay that it's hard for one side. It's not impossible. They have been close several times. But yeah, I've certainly made a few changes that are all in favor of the Russians, and it remains hard. So let's see how it turns out tomorrow against an opponent. As I said, it does take competent play on the part of the Germans. If you really make some terrible mistakes, for instance, putting nearly all the units up front, and then they will probably all get destroyed on turns 2 and 3, and you won't have a second line of defense, and then you just have to hope for the reinforcements to hold the line. But yeah, it's been a very enjoyable scenario. I've been keeping trying to find ways to win as the Russians, but yeah, it's pretty difficult. So thank you for watching, and see you after the next one.